Let's talk about one of the most extreme places on Earth, the deep ocean. It's a world of just crushing pressure and total darkness. But it's also got this amazing secret about something we do every second without thinking, taking a breath.
I mean, really think about it. Imagine you're at the very bottom of the Mariana Trench. The pressure down there is absolutely insane. We're talking over 1,000 times what it is up here. It's like having an elephant standing on your thumb. But is that what would get you first?
You know, the common wisdom is that the deep sea has to be an oxygen-free zone, right? It's dark, it's totally cut off, thousands of meters away from a single gulp of fresh air. You'd think it would just be this stagnant, dead void. Well, it turns out that assumption is completely wrong. Get this, back in 2014, scientists caught this on camera. It's the Mariana Snailfish, just casually swimming along at over 8,000 meters deep. That is nearly 27,000 feet down. This one little fish just shatters our assumptions and raises a huge question. How in the world is anything breathing down there?
This is basically the fish that shouldn't exist. So for the next few minutes, we're gonna unravel this mystery. How does it not just survive, but actually thrive in one of the most hostile places on the entire planet? Okay, so the first clue is kind of surprising. It's not biology, it's just simple physics. It all comes down to something called gas solubility, which is really just a fancy way of saying how well gas, like oxygen, can dissolve in a liquid, like water. And the easiest way to get this is to think about a can of soda. If you open a warm soda, it goes flat almost instantly, right? All the gas just rushes out. But an ice-cold soda, it stays fizzy for way longer. The ocean works the exact same way. The water at the bottom of the abyss is near freezing, which means it can physically hold on to a ton of dissolved oxygen. The deep sea is basically a giant, super cold soda. So, we know the water down there can hold oxygen. Great. But here's where the story gets really weird. The hardest place to breathe in the entire ocean isn't the bottom, it's the middle.
The ocean's oxygen levels are basically like a sandwich. You've got the surface, the top piece of bread, which is loaded with oxygen from the air and from algae doing their photosynthesis thing. But then you go down into the middle, the oxygen minimum zone. And in here, bacteria are having a feast on all the dead stuff sinking from above, and they use up almost all the oxygen in the process. But if you can make it through that layer and get to the abyss, the oxygen levels actually shoot back up again.
And that brings us to the next obvious question. Wait a minute, if there's no sunlight down there for plants to make oxygen, and the middle layer is using it all up, where is this deep sea oxygen coming from? How does it even get there? The answer is a system so enormous, it covers the entire planet. Scientists call it thermohaline speculation, but I think a better name for it is the Global Oxygen Express. It's this massive planetary conveyor belt that literally delivers fresh air to the bottom of the world.
So how does this incredible engine work? Well, it all kicks off at the poles, in places like Antarctica. When sea ice forms, it leaves the salt behind, making the water around it super salty and super cold. This water gets really dense and heavy, and it just plunges to the ocean floor, trapping oxygen from the surface and dragging it all the way down. Then, this bottom water starts this epic, centuries-long journey along the seabed, delivering that oxygen to even the deepest parts of the ocean.
This is just so wild to think about. That little snailfish isn't breathing old, stale water. It's breathing fresh air. Air that was literally captured at the surface in Antarctica hundreds of years ago and delivered, express mail, right to its doorstep.
Okay, so the oxygen is there. The delivery system works. But that's only half the story. The final piece of this puzzle is pure biology. How can any creature's body actually use that oxygen when it's being squeezed by that kind of pressure?
To get this, we have to talk about hemoglobin. You've got it in your blood right now. It's this super important protein in our red blood cells, and its whole job is to grab onto oxygen in our lungs, or a fish's gills, and haul it around the body to where it's needed. Here's the catch. Under extreme pressure, normal hemoglobin kind of gets warped. It changes shape, and when it does, it can't grab onto oxygen anymore. But deep sea fish, they have evolved a kind of superhemoglobin. Its whole structure is reinforced so it doesn't get crushed, and this is the key, it's way stickier. It has a much higher attraction to oxygen, so it can snatch those molecules out of the water, even under all that pressure.
So, when you put all these pieces together, the physics of cold water, the global conveyor belt, the biological superpower, the picture you get is just breathtaking. The survival of this little fish isn't just a story about one tough animal. It's about these huge, hidden connections that tie our entire planet together. And that's really the big takeaway here. Life exists in the deepest, darkest parts of our planet because of the weather at the poles. It's the freezing storms and icy waters in Antarctica that are literally breathing life into the abyss. The surface and the deep aren't separate worlds at all. They're part of one giant, interconnected system. And that just leaves you with one final thought. This incredible connection between a storm in Antarctica and a tiny fish 8 kilometers down, it was totally hidden from us for pretty much all of human history. It just makes you wonder, what other amazing planetary connections are out there, just waiting for us to find them, hidden in plain sight?